Happy Thursday, all. We are here, opening week of NGS season number 9, Division C West. Respect the Goose, a new team with a familiar face, and amateur opponent with plenty of familiar faces, though a new team name. And my camera is drunk, so we're going to fix that. There we go. And we are here for game number 1, choice of amateur opponents in Braxis Holdout. So amateur opponents actually already has one flex game played. To my knowledge, this is Respect the Goose's first game this season. And amateur opponents did play, let's see, who did they play? They played Cosmos and actually picked up a 2-0 domination. So pretty strong start to the season for Butte Holiday and Cactus Ham and Company. Here we go. So we're going to watch the NGS meta develop right before our very eyes. And it's going to be first banana coming out for Respect the Goose, amateur opponents. We'll see who they respond with. Going to be Johanna. Very strong generalist tank. Has been one of the more common tanks for a hot minute now. And we're going to see where this Zool fits in. Zool has been, at least in when I've been playing, pretty permabanned in Storm League. Is top of the win rates in the statistics that you can find those on Hero's profile. And then a tank choke continues with the ETC ban. So we'll see if amateur opponents is going to let that Zool through, if the focus on the Zool banning is going to translate from Storm League over to NGS here. And it is not. We're going to see Malthiel banned out instead. Don't be surprised if I'm a little late on those scene switches like I was just a few minutes ago. First cast of the season. Going to have some of those hiccups, but we do have you on the correct screen now. Hopefully I'll switch over to the gameplay screen before First Blood. So first pick Brightwing from Respect the Gooses. I would have taken me many guesses to get to Brightwing as the first pick. It's not something I've seen, I don't know, maybe ever, but if I have, certainly not in a minute. And the response coming out, Greymane and Rexar, a little bit more meta than that first pick Brightwing. Rexar, a really strong solo laner, in particular on Braxis Holdout, where Rexar can soak the lane, Misha Bear can hold the point. Very difficult to deal with 1v1 in that top lane. Greymane, just a really solid all-around auto attack damage assassin. And that is a hero I have not seen in a long time. And Samuro, we're going out there with Respect the Gooses. Probius can be super strong. The team I played on last season, we were something like 11-0 with Probius. We had a very strong Probius player. We loved Probius on Braxis Holdout. He can be very strong when played properly. Samuro, though, with the Probius and the Brightwing, I'm very curious what they have up their sleeve as amateur opponents continuing the tank choke, getting rid of the Diablo. With what Respect the Gooses is going with so far, I don't know if they need a tank. They just might round it out with all of the weird heroes. And Zool still on the board. Nobody paying attention to him. Garrosh banned out by Respect the Goose. Hey, my buddy Jay, raiding with a party of 4. Welcome. You guys are here just in time, actually, to see both Jason, my teammate, and I's home division, C West. Respect the Goose, amateur opponents. This is the draft for game number 1. And going to be an Anubarak selection for amateur opponents. Cocoon still very useful. Can really turn an engagement around, combined with that Stukov silence. Can be very powerful. And I really like Stukov on Braxis holdout in general. A well-placed lurking arm can be really... oh, what's the word I'm looking for? And then we have a Cho'Gall. Well, I'm going home. I don't... I do not know what to make of the draft for Respect the Gooses. Respect the Goose, I should say, singular, not plural. And last pick coming out for the side of amateur opponents. They do still have an assassin slot open if they want to do a typical kind of a 2-2-1, and they do, pairing up the Jaina with the Greymane. Cursed Bullet they do have for the Cho'Gall, and the Brightwing isn't typically a healer you see paired with the Cho'Gall. I'm leery of Brightwing struggling to keep up with Cho'Gall's health bar. And here we are into game number 1, opening week NGS season number 9. I am a professional caster, you can see clearly, because unlike when we drafted, I remembered to switch the scenes at the appropriate time. And no points for either side as far as portrait synergy, because not only are all members of each team on board with their portrait synergy, but we have 10 Carbot Artanuses here on display. So no advantage for either side coming from the portrait synergy department. All right, here we are. The blue team, Respect the Gooses, will feature Rusty on the first pick, Brightwing, Arco on Monkey King Samuro, Bullet Bear going to take the solo lane on Probius, and on Cho'Gall, Goliath and Rhiannon combining for Golman. The red team, amateur opponents, Cactus Ham on Jaina, Duck Rogers on Anubarak, Sonic's Bro 33 on Greymane, Butte Holiday riding the Golden Rooster as Admiral Stukov, and in the top lane, Saint Terminator playing Rexar and Misha. Now last season, our team, when we played Probius, we actually liked the Probius in the 4-man. Now, we did play a little bit more of a traditional comp than what Respect the Goose is running here, so it is going to be a little bit different. So we're going to check. I don't know that I've seen a Probius Rexar 1v1 in a hot minute, but it was a nice lurking arm there by Butte Holiday. Samuro now making the rotation up top, trying to put pressure on Rexar and Misha, forcing Saint Terminator back. Now, if Saint Terminator does not get picked off in those rotations, that's perfectly fine. Forcing the Samuro to respect Rexar and Misha is great. And I think the Rexar and Misha will be fine as long as they don't get caught in those warp rifts there. Those things do a ton of damage. So Samuro is getting started on the bottom siege camp, and the members of amateur opponents on their bottom lane bruiser camp. So we will have matching merc camps out momentarily. Duck Rogers maintaining presence in the lane. picking up Soak as appropriate. Let's go check in on our Probius Rexar. Both of these guys are getting a little beat up. Now, Saint Terminator does have to be a little wary when Samuro is not showing. He needs to make sure he doesn't get rotated on. I think Probius is going to have a hard time stepping into Misha, and I think if Rexar goes into this point, for this reason right there, that's a lot of damage if they walk into that. He may have a hard time stepping into Probius. But now is the time. When those Warp Rips are on cooldowns, he should only have one right now, and he is able to take the top point. Bottom, in the meanwhile, Duck Rogers forced to burrow charge out of the way, but not before 2% channel coming out by amateur opponents. Cactus Ham stepping in, dropping in a lot of damage on the Cho'Gall. Sonic Bro eating a lot of damage from Cho'Gall as well, but this bottom lane with the 8 of these Merc camps is really being held by amateur opponents, but Samuro forcing the Rexar back. Great response here by amateur opponents, knowing that Samuro is in the other lane, getting very aggressive and taking first blood on the Brightwing. Now, Saint Terminator is really, I think, the guy to keep an eye on here. And it could be St Terminator or ST Terminator, but I like Saint Terminator, so that's what I'm going to keep saying. I think as the key player in this match, it's going to be him keeping an eye on Samuro and not getting rotated on and dying. If he can do that, maintain control of the lane, and keep that point under control like he's doing now, that's going to do worlds for amateur opponents, because this 4-man is actually doing an okay job. However, Greymane is in trouble. Body block, low in health, but so is Cho'Gall. Who is going to go down first? It's going to be nobody. Greymane able to disengage back to safety. Brightwing forced to use the teleport heal to get Cho'Gall back up, but once again, he's down low. Greymane coming in on the flank, but Samuro is all over that Greymane. Cho'Gall in trouble, though. Probably at like 20% health, 10% health, less than 200 health before limping away. And once again, it is going to be amateur opponents securing both biotic emitters, both of the channel points here. After a long, protracted brawl, and Greymane on the back end actually almost picked up Arco. What I was worried about in the draft is Brightwing's ability to top off Cho'Gall, and that's kind of been an issue, honestly, is Cho'Gall's been very low. Now, Probius does pick up the kill on poor Misha, but Misha laid down her life to get the Zerg wave, and I come down to the bottom. I missed the kill on the Brightwing, but Greymane goes down as well, a 1-for-1, and Cho'Gall still very low. And with Probius in the top lane, I don't know who's going to clear out this Zerg wave. Cho'Gall is very low. Samuro doesn't have wave clear. Tanking these Zerg waves for non-ranged heroes is very difficult. And you can see this bottom lane is getting absolutely melted. If Greymane were here, it would be even worse, as he is the best siege damage for the side of amateur opponents, and now they are deciding to back up, withdraw, top off on health and mana. Top lane, in the meanwhile, Misha beating up on poor Probius. And Probius is doing a nice job of picking up the soak and being safe, but Probius doesn't have the bulk, the heft, to fight for the point with Misha Bear, and as a result, I think Rexar and Misha are going to continue to control this top lane point throughout this game. Samuro is going to have to come up to actually get the point itself. And so far this game, amateur opponent has been playing around Samuro's presence on the map very well. Rexar and Misha Bear have been backing up when he goes missing. The bottom lane 4-man has stepped up very strong when Samuro makes that rotation top. Once again, pushing with these mercs. No front wall or fountain, and frankly, very little wave clear for the side of Respect the Goose here. Now Samuro, though, is rotating top. Let's see if Rexar and Misha Bear sees it coming. I think he smells something funny because Saint Terminator backs up very safely. Going to check the bush. Misha Bear saving Rexar and getting out alive, and that is huge. When Samuro rotates up top and doesn't get value. It's just a waste of resources, and it allows this bottom 4-man to really push in, knowing that Samuro is not around to pressure them. Here we have another skirmish here. Cho'Gall getting aggressive, going in on Cactus Ham on the Jaina. A nice fighting retreat. Really under control there from amateur opponents. They backed up as a squad. They fought their way out. They didn't panic over the flank or the Cho'Gall aggression. And a pretty low-kill game so far, but it's going to be amateur opponents who will be winning the race to 10. And here we go. It is going to be Cocoon, Cursed Bullet for the Cho'Gall, no surprise there. The other three have not selected yet. And this is going to be a huge release the boars or unleash the boars for Rexxar. Once again, Rexxar and Misha just kind of waiting around. Saint Terminator doing a nice job of not sending Rexxar into the bushes, making sure Misha tanks that. And as soon as I said that, no! Run, Rexxar, run! Escaping with less than 200 health. Both sides do now have their heroic abilities. I really think Rexxar just needs to back here, maybe after this wave. But we do have Hammer of Twilight, Pylon Overcharge, Blade Storm, Twisting Nether, and Emerald Wind for the side of Respect the Gooses. And for the side of amateur opponents, it is Massive Shove, Unleash the Boars, Water Elemental, and the aforementioned Cocoon and Cursed Bullet. Greymane able to pick up the kill on the Probius on the rotation. Nice play by Sonic's Pro. Now Jaina and Anub'arak fighting the Cho'Gall down here. Jaina getting hammered. A nice peeling stun by Duck Rogers. And this is a 3v2. I really want to see amateur opponents back up here. Don't need to take this. There goes Twisting Nether, and Cactus Ham goes down to the Gall Q. I would say that skirmish there was the first ill-advised fight I've seen amateur opponents taken. They were outnumbered. Butte finding Cho'Gall in the bush, eats a hammer for the troubles, but Sonic's Bro with the big Cursed Bullet turning it around quickly, and there goes the Burrow Charge and this double stun from Anub'arak to secure the Cho'Gall kill. Nice job there by AO. And once again, this is going to be both points secured by amateur opponents, and the Zerg wave will continue to charge up. Overlooked in the kind of back and forth the last few minutes is Respect the Goose actually did secure 30% of the beacon. Arco is in trouble. Duck Rogers unfortunately missed the Burrow Charge. Cho'Gall forced to come in and smack Greymane again, but eats the Cursed Bullet, and every time he eats that, Cho'Gall really has to back up. 52% of the Zerg wave secured before Respect the Goose can get top lane under control one more time. Jaina and Rexxar will very quickly get this top point. Meanwhile, in the bottom, the kind of perma skirmishing continues. Samuro caught out by the Jaina, forced to go back, eats a Gilnean cocktail. And there goes Cho'Gall getting aggressive. Big-time polymorph onto Greymane will secure the kill. Despite the Cocoon on Cho'Gall, Samuro forced to retreat. I think amateur opponents needs to get out of here. Once Greymane goes down, that fight is lost. They lose Anub'arak, and they also lose a 100-0 Zerg wave. The polymorph by Rusty was really on point and put Greymane in just an absolutely rough spot. I think Butte and Cactus Ham are going to have to back up here. They don't have the tank player to create space for them to clear this out. I think, yeah, drop the Blizzard and then run away. And a game that amateur opponents looked like they had under control. A couple of untimely deaths have turned this around. Still very close, 5-4 in kills, 13-13 in, or 14-13, I should say, in level. Duck Rogers getting absolutely obliterated. forced to burrow charge to safety. I think he was tanking the wave there is where a lot of that damage come from. I think a lot of players underestimate how much damage these Zerg waves do. They really hurt. Now top lane, Samuro is coming up here trying to get on the Rexar and Misha Bear. They do, but he's got a pretty full health, so we'll simply walk away to safety. Very back and forth game so far. Early going was more in favor of amateur opponents. Mid game here has been tilted in favor of Respect the Goose. Cho'Gall on the invade does get here a little bit late though. Samuro sitting in this bush, and are they going to invade now? Yes, they are. Samuro blade storming on the point, getting some value onto Greymane. Massive shove into Cho'Gall, but Greymane is in trouble. Cocoon onto the Cho'Gall probably saves Greymane's life. However, once Cho'Gall gets up, that's got to be amateur opponent's cue to leave. Losing only Misha Bear is actually not too bad, and a nice aggressive invade for the side of Respect the Goose, grabbing the camp as well. And securing top port for their troubles, giving them really the only noticeable difference in the game so far, which is the structural lead for Respect the Gooses. This game in every other metric is very, very close. Burrow charge onto Probius does hit. Cho'Gall coming in to help, eats a stun and a root and another stun, but only the Rexar and the Anubarak were on Cho'Gall. The damage was unable to step forward and follow up on a pretty clean initiation. Burrow charge doesn't hit. Oh, the lurking arm does. Cho'Gall is in trouble. Butte making the plays. Despite the near miss on the burrow charge, the root combo by Stukov was on point, and Cho'Gall had no chance. Level 16 secured, and they are going to make a boss play, I would imagine. Yes, they are. 20 seconds without Cho'Gall. Greymane has very good boss burn. I don't see any way that Respect the Goose can contest this. This boss actually is already donezo. It took them 10 seconds to burn through that thing, secure the boss, and now they have to get on the points. Respect the Goose did a nice job of actually grabbing both. Knowing that amateur opponents was on the boss, they could get a little bit of a channel in, and they did. 18%. Misha Bear gonna secure top. Jaina gonna go clear out those Katas bottom, but Rexar and Misha needs to be careful. Now it's a 4-on-4. Jaina bottom, Probius top, but Probius is coming in. This will give numbers to Respect the Goose. Twisting Nether. Cho'Gall gets massive shoved back, but Jaina is not here. Misha goes down. And I think amateur opponents can kind of just wait this out right now. With the boss pressuring top, they can wait it out. Jaina's still bottom, though. And they're going to make one more play for this point. A lurking arm to zone out everybody. And Samuro goes down. The lurking arm again, splitting him from his team. Cho'Gall eats the cursed bullet, forcing him back. And there we go. Top point finally secured. The Zerg wave is charging for the side of amateur opponents. They get 36% before Probius sneaks onto the bottom point and secures it. We'll show you some statistics down there while we have a brief lull that hasn't existed to this point. Amateur opponents is securing bottom. The top, Misha Bear doing her best to get a little bit out of it, and she does. They get about another 8% before Misha goes down. Camp invasion for the side of amateur opponents. They will secure the siege camp. They still haven't secured a fort yet, they being amateur opponents, but both top and bottom are so low. Samuro using the Blade Storm to actually clear out the mercenaries there, helping to contribute with a little bit of a low wave clear team. Now Anubarak can leave, and he needs to, as he gets absolutely chunked because his teammates on top are securing the top emitter. So they will simply trade out emitters, they will secure the top merc camp, and we might have a little brawl here. Samuro stepping forward and then immediately backing up when he realizes just how outnumbered he is. And they have caught Samuro. He eats a cursed bullet and a burrow charge. And then there's the root combo on the Cho'Gall. Big time plays coming out by amateur opponents. That is a 3-for-0. Rusty on the Brightwing, forced to use the Emerald Wind to disengage. Now, cheeky play here by Probius will buy a little bit of time, but I don't imagine Probius is going to stay there long, and he does it. Both channel points will be secured here by amateur opponents. They can also, with 3 bodies down, choose one of these lanes to step up into. They could probably get a fort. Stukov is down here alone currently and does land the root combo onto Brightwing. Nice little harassment there. I kind of would like to see amateur opponents with this advantage. Rather than getting a Merc, just pick one of these forts to blow them up. But they do secure a 100-18 Zerg wave. And they did time bottom camp with bottom wave, and then they also hearthed back to fill up. So this could be a huge, huge push for amateur opponents. Probius doing his best to clear. Rexar and Anubrak holding the flank. Now Jaina has been dispatched to the top lane to wave clear. Bladestorm being used one more time to burn out the Zerg wave. There's the root combo on the Cho'Gall again, but able to use the Cho nudge to get out safely. He does eat a cursed bullet. I will say Sonic's Bro on the Greymane has, I don't think, missed one cursed bullet that I've seen. They have all been on point. There goes the Burrow Charge onto the Brightwing. Jaina actually goes down to the wave in the top, but Brightwing goes down in the bottom. Probius and Greymane dueling. Greymane is going to win, but very low in health. And the side of Respect the Goose is forced back. Burrow Charge does land onto Cho'Gall, but Anubrak needing to be careful not to go over the wall and be in the no man's land. I think Jaina, just one of those instances where a player underestimated the Zerg wave damage. Like I mentioned earlier, those things do a lot of damage. Jaina paid for it, but if you're the side of, oh, big time Bladestorm, forcing back Misha and Greymane. If you're the side of amateur opponents, how long do you stay here without this wave and your life being low? They decide, no, Jaina, we're going to back it up here, take our 20 lead, and use this advantage to rip Boss. Now, it took them 10 seconds last time. Boss still might not be up, but it is, and they're going for it. No Jaina, no Probius, no Brightwing. Aggressive play here. Samuro is going to sniff it out. It is about halfway there. Probius is not up yet. No 20s for Respect the Goose, and they will not make a play on it. Really good call there by amateur opponents. And now, are they going to use their 20s to invade this camp? And they will. If they secure this with their 20s, it will be a double push top with Boss and the mercenaries. But I don't think Respect the Gooses is just going to give this one up. They do. They do. They put in a little poke damage, but didn't go in hard. Still waiting for their 20s. This top fort's finally going to go down. This is a huge push by amateur opponents. All 5 members here. Stemuro's hanging around the back. I'm not sure what he's trying to do over here. He's fishing for something, but they catch the Probius. Butte Holiday again with the root silence combo. I think if you are Respect the Goose, you have to respect the Stukov. That ban has to be there. Has set up so many kills this game. And this top keep is going down pretty fast here. There's the Bladestorm to try to create a little space. There it is. I jinxed poor Sonic's Bro. Caster Curse. And then I think it's the first cursed bullet that I've seen missed. Regardless, top keep going down. Amateur opponents looking for more. There's the root combo again. Brightwing buys some time with the Emerald Wind, but not enough. Brightwing going down. But some health bars on the side of amateur opponents kind of low. No katas or mercs, and with the new boss core mechanisms, I would be very leery of trying to end here. And they are. They're going to back up. They run across a Samuro and a Cho'Gall, kind of harassing them on their way out. Double stun from the Cho'Gall, followed by a Twilight Hammer. However, gets cursed bulleted. Cho'Gall may have stepped out too far. On the backside, though, Cho'Gall bought just enough time for Samuro to kill Jaina, and now he might pay for it. Misha Bear in hot pursuit, as is Rexar. There go the clones, and Samuro slinks away. Both sides down a member, but I really don't like amateur opponent's position here. Defensive Burrow Charge by Anubrak. He does back up. Misha Bear goes down, and amateur opponents has to run here. They have such control of the map and they want to save their bottom keep, so they have to back up, and it's too late. They didn't respond to the catapult pressure in time, and unfortunately surrendered a free keep death in the bottom lane. So level 20 to level 21, structures are completely even for both sides. Kill pressure in favor of amateur opponents, but they haven't been able to translate that into as much success as you would think. Anubrak sort of caught out as he sniffed out the invade. Both sides will happily disengage, though. Now, the little Cho'Gall eye does see this. Both points channeled by Respect the Goose. Now, Samuro, watch the Samuro on the backside. He got onto Cactus Ham and was able to secure the kill. Amateur opponents really needs to call that out and give Cactus Ham some help. And look, he's right in the middle of everything. They sniffed him out this time, forced him to draw back. However, you do have a Merc Camp pressuring in the bottom lane for Respect the Goose. So they are forcing amateur opponents to make some tough decisions. They have to engage hard or get out. Duck Rogers getting obliterated, as is Cho'Gall and his Butte Holiday. Life bars are so low. Cocoon does get on the Cho'Gall. They do get Probius, and now will they get Samuro as well? No. Able to shift away onto one of the Mirages. However, two Katas are pushing on Core for the side of Respect the Gooses. This is going to need to be addressed sometime here in the near future. That Probius kill is going to buy them a little bit of breathing room. Jaina forced to go back. She'll do a little lane maintenance in the bottom lane. I imagine she'll drop a Blizzard on a wave and then rejoin her team. Greymane on the bottom, and with these people showing away, Respect the Gooses is getting aggressive. A silence combo once again. Jaina has shown up, dropping some damage onto a Cho'Gall. Great Cursed Bullet onto Samuro one more time. No kill secured. I'm sorry, that wasn't Cursed Bullet because that was just used on Cho'Gall right there. And all these health bars are so low. Oh no, Respect the Gooses is in trouble. Rusty able to use the Emerald Wind and save probably both Brightwing and Cho'Gall. And this Zerg wave charging up quickly for the side of Respect the Gooses. Now here's the boss call one more time. A boss Zerg wave would be very disastrous, I think, here for Respect the Gooses. Anubrak is zoning them away, but also getting blown up. Anubrak's going to go down. Boss is going to go down too, and this is going to be very interesting. Great play by Butte Holiday. Massive shove on the Cho'Gall to secure the boss, and also forcing Brightwing into a very unenviable position and securing the kill. That was a big-time play by Butte Holiday here. Speaking of Kata pressure, 4 Katas in the top. Probius is going to have to deal with that. Now, we'll see what Amateur Opponents does here. They're going to get more pressure in the bottom lane. Top is unsecured. I think they're going to rotate on top point, and they will. When they do this, it will very likely get them 100% on the Zerg wave. However, 70% still there for... Stay on the point, guys. 70% still there for Respect the Gooses. And that will be pushing, actually, bottom. So I don't think either side can ignore the Zerg wave 100% unless you're trying to make a core call here. Both Zerg waves will actually be pushing into their opponent's lane that does not have a keep. And that might play slightly into amateur opponents' favor as their lane is pushed up further. Samuro onto the Jaina again. Butte goes over there to deter him. Anubrak is coming up now, just spawning, is a little bit late. Look at where Samuro is, very far forward. A lot of damage from the Probius there onto Rexar and Misha, but they're able to weather it. Samuro still fishing around on the back line. There goes the stun onto Cho'Gall. Cursed Bullet misses. However, all of the rest of that doesn't. Cho'Gall has to leave. Amateur opponent's side is very low, but the core is taking damage very quickly. Shields are gone, but so is Greymane, so is Anubrak. Core at 50%. Both cores are just absolutely melting. Which one's going to go down first? I think this is going to be Respect the Gooses. Oh my goodness. Yikes. That is an ending. Holy smokes. I said I don't think either team can ignore the Zerg waves, and a calculated risk there by amateur opponents. And we had a core race to the finish with AO losing while on Respect the Goose's core. I think their core is at like 20 to 18% when the game was won. That was a fun, an incredible game to watch with plays by both sides. It's what you really love to see. Holy moly. There's the talent builds for those of you inclined to look at that sort of things. So Respect the Gooses taking a thrilling Game 1 victory. And now it will be up to amateur opponents to decide if they want first pick or map pick. I don't think I've ever called a Zerg base race quite like that before. You just glanced up and all of a sudden the shields on both cores were absolutely gone. Whew. All right, well, I'm going 21%. Thanks, Giggle. So I'm going to take a quick 2-minute break, and we will be back with Game 2 in just 1 minute. All right, we are back for game number 2, and I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say there's no way game 2 can be as entertaining as game 1 was, because that was a barn burner, man. Absolutely entertaining, fantastic game 1 to watch. Game 2 will be on Cursed Hollow, and with amateur opponents having first pick, that means they chose to take first pick instead. And Cursed Hollow here is the selection of Respect the Goose. So let's see how game 1 may affect how these teams approach the draft. I'm not surprised to see amateur opponents taking their time with this ban. How do you adjust your ban strategy when Respect the Goose pulled a very kind of weird comp out in game 1? They're going to ban out Falstad. The global is excellent on Cursed Hollow. The Gust for map control, really strong as well. And I think if you respect the Gooses, you got to put the Stukov ban out. Butte made so many great plays that game 1. And instead, they're going to stick with the banana for their first pan. Second ban coming out for amateur opponents. Going all the way down to the wire. And it's going to be the Probius. Don't want to see the Probius from game 2 in game 1. A team with a solid Probius player can actually be, in my opinion, difficult to prepare for because you just don't see a lot of them. So it's hard as a team to prep for that hero. And now second ban here for Respect the Goose. And sticking with the ETC ban. So Stukov is still available for amateur opponents. Another strategy you can use to deny a team a particular hero is Respect the Goose could also take the Stukov in the first pass, assuming amateur opponents don't take it here, and they don't. They first pick the Johanna. So if Respect the Goose doesn't want that Stukov getting through, it could be one of their 2 picks right here. First pick, Malthael, followed by Li Ming. So going with the kind of double reset comp with the last rights and the Li Ming resets. And then Sonic's Bow back on the Greymane, which he played very well in game 1. Had a very high accuracy rate with the Cursed Bullets. And Butte back on the Stukov that she made so many plays on in that game number 1 as well. So mid-ban here coming out for Respect the Goose. And it is going to be the Zool. I talked about the Zool in the draft of game 1, and after doing that, it wasn't even looked at. But here in game 2, Zool still on the board, and now no longer. Mal'Ganis, banned out by amateur opponents. Mal'Ganis definitely around the meta right now. and is another one of those heroes that when he played well can, I like what you said, Dave, claustrophobic. He's really up in it. The stuns and the sleeps, plus he's very difficult to kill, very disruptive. And amateur opponents are going to say, nah thanks. No thanks on the Mal'Ganis. And 2 picks here for Respect the Goose. Back to Brightwing for Rusty and Arco now on the Garrosh. So a little bit more of a traditional comp here. For Respect the Goose, they have the Garrosh Toss to be followed up by a Poly, and then the Leeming damage. So this is a little bit more of a traditional game, it's looking like, than the Cho'Gall Braxis Fiesta that was game 1. Those 2-lane maps can kind of lean themselves towards some different comps that you just you can't pull off as easily on a larger 3-lane map. I do want to take a minute while we have a chance to thank the 4 of you that followed. Tyrant X90, Sparhawk, Kestivlana, the 3 of you. So thanks for the follow, guys. I appreciate it. I'm going to be probably casting once, maybe twice a week this season. It just kind of depends on how it goes. And then Goliath going to round out the comp with Vala. So traditional comp for Respect the Goose and traditional comp for amateur opponents. They've rounded out the Sylve. Now, looking at amateur opponents comps. If they get that curse, a Sylve and a Greymane with a boss, or even without the curse, just a boss Sylve Greymane, they can really shred a lane. That's a lot of siege damage. So we'll see if they can leverage that combination. And frankly, Greymane, Sylvanas, even without a boss, if you play it right, the 2 of them can just pick a lane and shred it. And if you don't respond to it, they're going to get a lot of damage done. I think you can make an argument that Greymane Sylve may be the best sieging backline combination there is, certainly one of them. So game number 2 on Cursed Hollow. The blue team coming off a dramatic, entertaining, and slightly come from behind victory in game number 1. They did fall behind a little bit early. Then the blue trunks, we have Respect the Gooses. Arco is on Garrosh. Rhiannon on Leeming. Rusty back on the Brightwing. Goliath on Vala. Bullet Bear on Malthael. In the red trunks, amateur opponents. Duck Rogers playing Johanna. Saint Terminator back on Rexar and Misha. Sonic's Bro on Greymane. Butte Holiday on Admiral Stukov. And Cactus Ham on Sylvanas. So this is interesting. You will see a lot of Sylve-based teams pick a top or bottom lane and rush it. And Respect the Gooses was trying to guess that that's what amateur opponents were doing, and they were trying to bush it. But no such luck. And now these 2 teams are kind of passing each other in the night. Greymane didn't know that Respect the Gooses were there. Respect the Gooses didn't know that Greymane was there, but they do not try the Sylvanas cheese. But I like the thought from Respect the Gooses to kind of preemptively sniff out that strategy that is very prevalent with Sylvanas-based teams. With the Greymane, too, as he rotates away already, the Merc power of Greymane is really strong, and there are a lot of good Merc camps on Cursed Hollow. So Vala immediately on to the Merc camps for Respect the Goose. Greymane mirroring the move for amateur opponents. Greymane will finish here first by a little bit. And then I assume both teams are going to rotate onto the mid. The mid-Merc camps, I should say. So Greymane is heading over there. Usually you're going to send somebody else to help on the beefier camps mid lane. And they are sending Stukov to help Greymane, Brightwing going to help Vala. So far these teams are have been a little bit of a mirror of one another. So with the power of Greymane, amateur opponents a little bit faster on the Merc camp. It'll take Respect the Goose here another few seconds to get theirs out, and they will do so here shortly. Sylve, though, pushing in with the Giants. Li Ming doesn't have great wave clear. Has to play the angles a little bit to maximize the wave clear. Now Vala coming down on the Cactus Ham. Will the Haunting Wave come out? And it does. Cactus Ham getting out just in the nick of time. Meanwhile, here in the mid lane, oh no, Duck Rogers eats the throw, forced to go the long way, and is actually able to get out. Literally just walks out the other side. Sonic's Bro not going to let that happen again, and he's going to go ahead and take out that side gate. Nice play there, however, does get polyed, but Johanna literally hit the Iron Skin, walked out of trouble, came all the way around, and will arrive just in time for our first tribute. So Malthael is heading down, yes or no? It looks like the offlaners are going to continue to duel in the top lane. And in the bottom, the double channel straight away. Nice job by Sonic's Bro to eat the Li Ming damage. However, they weren't able to finish it anyway. There's the silence again. Not stepping in too far forward. Butte getting screened from all the damage, but it's not enough. Now Johanna has no Iron Skin and very little health. Li Ming poke damage, very real. One reset could turn this around very quickly. Poor Butte caught out, and she is not getting out. Down goes Stukov. The resets are going to probably get at least one more. Make it two. Make it two more. So triple kill for the Li Ming there. That's the power of the Li Ming resets. Li Ming can be very all or nothing as a hero. If you get the resets, she is super strong, and if you're struggling to get that initial reset, she feels very limited. So she can be overpowering and dominating as a hero, and can also be kind of a non-factor if you're not able to secure those kills. But in that first fight, those Li Ming resets went a long way. Meanwhile, top lane, Malthael and Rexxar continue to duel it out. Both sides have a little bit of tower damage, and their health is pretty good. Really not much to talk about here. They're fighting each other pretty even. Greymane is going to the Giants. It looks like amateur opponents might concede this tribute. It is in the most difficult position to invade. But now they're actually moving in. Are they trying to get Li Ming coming up? Because they're very scattered. Greymane is going to be here late, but is now heading over. Malthael is coming down too, as is Rexxar, who will be late. But Vala is in the top lane, so kind of a staggered appearance by both teams. They might get Malthael here. He is in a rough spot. There's the stun. There's the silence. Down goes Malthael. Garrosh in trouble. Rexxar and Misha now arriving. And is the stun going to go out? No, Misha actually gets hucked. Greymane and Vala dueling on the flank, but with Malthael gone, advantage is going to be here for the side of amateur opponents. Garrosh going to go down as well. Misha traded out for two, and I think they're just going to eat these orbs, get the tribute, and some big-time plays there. The kind of solo aggressive rotation by Malthael, and amateur opponents made him pay for it. Really nice play there. And they got a mop-up on Garrosh when Respect the Goose stepped in a man short. And now they're heading straight for the boss, really prioritizing. In both Games 1 and Games 2, amateur opponents has been on the bosses. It looks like Respect the Gooses will respond as well. All 5 members here. And this is actually allowing Rexxar to get a little bit of a soak advantage into the top lane. Boss secured on the top. Tens will be here very shortly for amateur opponents, and both bosses secured. I kind of wondering if you're amateur opponents and you think that Respect the Goose was on that bottom boss, why you wouldn't just push like crazy with that top. But instead they're going to rotate down here, and now they're actually out of position for the tribute though. They do go straight onto this boss. Greymane able to juke the stun just in time. 15 seconds until tribute comes up. I don't think they're going to get down here in time. Or I should say up here in time. Garrosh holding the bush. Malthael is actually on this Merc though, so if they can get here in time, they being amateur opponents, and they will. So both sides collapsing. Misha finds Garrosh in the bush. Rexar needs to be very careful. Split out by terrain. Misha Bear gets thrown, but a big lurking arm. Leeming and Garrosh fall quickly. Vala likely to go as well. The Rain of Vengeance used as a peel. Rexar not going down yet. They refuse to give up the reset. It's actually Malthael that goes down. And 3-4 not. And the tribute in favor of amateur opponents. In the draft, I called for that Stukov ban. Butte was so good on it in game 1, and in Cursed Hollow, when you're fighting in these tight corridors like that, the lurking arm gets so much value, and we saw it again there. The lurking arm set up the double kill onto the Malthael and to the Garrosh and the Li Ming, and really big tip of the hat to amateur opponents. When these kills are getting set up, the damage is really Johnny on the spot and finishing the job. So now they have Mercs pushing mid. They're about to have Mercs pushing bottom. They're on the verge of level 13 talent tier advantage, and they are 1 tribute away from Curse. So amateur opponents really in a great spot here. Johanna zoning out that rotation. Greymane coming, Misha Bear coming. Butte using the lurking arm to check the bush. That is a long cooldown, though, so it will not be available here initially. Rexar and Misha not here yet. Garrosh going in, but is so low, actually not able to initiate. And now the beam going out from the Li Ming. On the back end, though, Respect the Gooses actually secured the tribute and managed to get a JoJo kill. That was very tight. Arco on that Garrosh really pushed the limits of his armor there, walking into amateur opponents, but able to get away with it and let his team secure a kill onto Johanna. And now we have the decisive tribute number 5. Both teams should be up and ready to go. Bottom fort is going to fall here to the pressure from Respect the Gooses. But the positioning of this tribute is going to favor amateur opponents, going to be on their side of the map in their little defensive nook there. Both teams should have level 13s, though. Just like game 1, we have a very close game number 2. Structures. Arm again by Stukov. If this game goes to game 3, you have to ban the Stukov. That lurking arm has been such a decisive factor, fight after fight after fight in games 1 and 2. Now Malthael running from Butte and Sylvanas, forcing a Brightwing rotation, and we froze. No, I've DC'd. Well, we are back. We had a DC and a game collapse there, and terrible timing, and it looks like amateur opponents has kept control of this game. 11-4 in kills, up 2 levels. All of the forts for Respect the Goose are down, but all of their keeps are up. So Silver Linings, they're also only 1 tribute away from Curse. Amateur opponents is already posturing aggressively here. You know, it's funny you said that. We had a game I was casting with Weenus to where, for some reason, I was the main caster, he was co-casting, and we lost vision for just a minute. Or I think maybe my client crashed, and so he could still see the game, but the stream couldn't. So he casted for like 45 seconds in like old-timey radio voice, and it was really great. So little story there for you guys. While we wait, level 20s are here for the side of amateur opponents. Respect the Gooses. Why do I keep pluralizing that? Respect the Goose. Not even remotely moving toward this tribute, and now what they want is they want to hope that they are at 20 before the next tribute, because then if not, they will have some very tough choices to make. Giant secured by Greymane. And they are setting an ambush on the Mercs here. I really like where amateur opponents' heads is at. This is the only place for either side to make a play. Using their 20s, they're going to invade. Now, they are split by terrain. I don't care for Johanna's placement here. I would prefer her to be up zoning. But now she's going to step forward. Somebody get on the point. And they do secure the map. And now, no level 20s for Respect the Goose. Merc camp pushing bottom. Merc camp stolen mid. Their choices are fight without 20 over this tribute or give up another curse to the side of amateur opponent. Neither one of those choices is a good choice. And they are opting to give a curse. And this is going to be brutal. All of these lanes are going to go straight onto keeps. Over a minute of these pushing in with the occasional catapults. Now, however, they're moving toward the boss. They have a feeling that Respect the Goose is down here, and they are. And they still have 20s. Brightwing is caught. Emerald wins to safety, but Respect the Goose is backing up, and they are going straight onto the boss. And this just went from bad to worse for Respect the Goose. It was a calculated risk to try to get that boss in. However, once amateur opponents showed up, they really got out of there. Brightwing was fortunate enough to be able to press the R button to get out of safety. But now they have boss, they have curse, they have... This could easily be a triple keep or game for amateur opponents. Butte Holiday does take a lot of damage, as is Johanna, forcing to back up. Cursed Bullet into the Garrosh, forcing him back. Now the boss has arrived. Both of the other keeps have katas and minion waves pushing in on them. But this is a 18-minute boss. Brightwing gets caught out again. There's the Blessed Shield. There goes Garrosh. There goes Leeming. There goes Brightwing. And there goes game number 2 as Malthael falls after an incredible game number 1. Amateur opponents really flexing here. This was really their game, cover to cover. And I don't know about you, Twitch chat. They can't let the Stukov through. Am I wrong? Am I overselling the Lurking Arms? There's the game summary. I'll put up the talents here in a moment. And then we will be back in just a minute for game number 3. It will be amateur opponents. Respect the Goose's choice of map pick or first pick for game number 3. All right, guys, we will be back in just a moment to pick up the final and deciding game number 3. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with game number 3 in a very entertaining set between Division C West opponents, Respect the Goose, and amateur opponents. Joining me is surprise co-caster for game 3, Jay Zahn. How's it going, man?
It's going. And hello, everybody.
Yeah, you hopped into a good one. Map number 3 on Towers of Doom. And it looks like Respect the Goose took first pick. So this was actually map choice of amateur opponents. But I love me some Towers of Doom. I think it's probably the most fun map to cast on, or one of them, because you can just, man, so many crazy things happen on Towers.
Yeah, it's one of the most unchanged maps in light of these new changes. You still, of course, have the tower mechanic, but, of course, you can't attack the core directly here on towers. So there's no new, core defense system. And mostly the map, more or less, it plays the way it used to play. The bottom lane is the priority. You're able to get that bottom lane. Now it's even harder to take it back. So it gives you slightly more of an advantage before, but that's still the biggest advantage you can get in the game is owning that tower and defending.
And perhaps the reason why you have so many crazy, bizarro things happen on towers is you mentioned you can't go straight at the core. On most of these maps, if you win a post 20 fight decisively, you can just run at the core, and many times you can even run at the core through a keep if it's in the way, depending on the map and other things. But on Towers of Doom, not so much. You can't just run at the core and end. I mean, there are ways to take control of the map, but it's not quite the same as it is. And as a result, you have these, close games going down to this last bell spawn, and just bizarre, wacky things happening.
Sure. Sometimes it's the speed of how quickly a team can take a boss versus the speed of how quickly someone can take a bell tower. But there goes that Probius ban. Nobody wants to see that again.
Yeah, and I get that. But I've been calling since game 1, Jay, for the Stukov ban. I mean, am I crazy? Am I overhyping it?
No, I mean in that first game, it looked very influential. That first team fight was just 100% because Butte hit that amazing lurking arm, and no doubt that it's definitely going to be a factor here if they don't either steal it or ban it.
Yeah, and they're sticking with the same bans the whole way for Respect the Goose. No Anna, no ETC. Now, no Probius here for amateur opponents, but we've had the Zool kind of not be prioritized, but this is a map where Zool can get some major value with the double soaking ability, but they're going to let it through. Ban the Johanna. Now, first pick for Respect the Goose.
Yeah, now they got to choose between, maybe trying to steal that Stukov and letting the Zol through, getting Zol, and this is a very good double soak map, so you kind of want to make sure that you have either a Zol or a Malthael, maybe a Leo, somebody that can dual soak so you can prioritize that bottom lane.
And absolutely, and they're going to take the Malthael. Malthael is one of those heroes that can double soak. So if that's the strategy that Respect the Goose is going to employ, amateur opponents needs to have a hero that can respond to that, like Zool. And there it is. Sylvanas and Zool. That's a lot of map pressure, Jay.
Not to mention, that's a lot of siege pressure. Sylv, now one of the strongest heroes in the game just because of these changes and because of her ability to shut down the towers and kind of get around that mechanic of being able to still sort of team fight under a tower. But it's also for her, the Merc Queen, being able to empower these sappers to be able to do extra damage to the structures when you're pushing those in.
Yeah, I took the words right out of my mouth. The Merc Queen on the sappers, those things absolutely shred.
60% more damage on it. It's crazy.
Yeah, they just do a ton of work. And this is an opportunity here once again in the mid band this time, though, for Respected Gooses to get rid of that Stukov if they so choose. The Sylvanas and the Zool was a great opening to the draft, but that means Stukov is bannable if Respect the Gooses wants to go that route.
Meanwhile, Respect the Goose definitely tugging on my heartstrings with the Li Ming pick. Get to see another excellent bit of Li Ming play. Last game, a couple of good resets were secured, and I like it. And there is that Stukov ban, but I really like it with that Malthael combo of being able to possibly get that last rights kill to proc it. I think that's a good combo that they're trying to employ there. We'll see if they can pull it off this time.
Yeah, that's what they tried in game one. But in game one, the Mal'Ganis was actually banned. So maybe a little bit of homework done there by amateur opponents to prevent that. This time, they instead of opening with the Malthael Li Ming, they get the Mal'Ganis earlier. And they're going to force Butte onto a different support. And amateur opponents, they're not going to show what that support is, going once again with the Greymane Sylv. And this combo on towers, if you have Zool take the top 2 lanes, the Greymane Sylvanas, they're going to put so much pressure on that bottom lane. And Mal'Ganis and Li Ming, they don't have a ton of wave clear, so I do think they need to address that.
I'm in.
Well, they're going to start with Kira, which is a decent wave clear hero, but they also still need their healer, so it's not going to be a ton of wave clear. It's not too bad, but you're right. Mal'Ganis really doesn't give you hardly any, and Brightwing among healers is not too bad, but they should be able to keep up, but it's going to be a little bit of a struggle just defending in the bot lane. There's a few heroes that don't have a whole lot of health on that team that can be easily isolated by the Garrosh, and amateur opponents have a lot of damage to respond to it.
I love the Anduin pick. Anduin is really strong. And there's the hyper carry Li Ming isn't something you see too much of, and they're really leaning into the resets, Jay. I think this is a little bit of an all or nothing comp for Respect the Goose. If they get that early reset, that kind of blow up, Mal'Ganis uses the sleep and puts Sylvanas on the T, and Li Ming tees it up and gets that early reset, Respect the Goose is going to have success. But if they can't secure that early reset, I think they're going to struggle.
Yeah, it's possible. It's going to take a lot of focus damage from Kira and Malthael together to get one target low enough. If they can get that last rights, get that kill, those two have a lot of spread damage, so it's not too hard to start knocking down the dominoes with all that AoE damage after the fact. And Mal'Ganis is a decent setup for that, but it's all about performance. Can they execute the strategy? It's not a super easy one, whereas the Garrosh is 100% on Duck Rogers. Can they get the throw? And then following up after that is pretty rudimentary.
Yeah, and I think on the flip side, looking at that Anduin, there's no obvious light bomb target on amateur opponents, and that leads me to believe that it's going to be Holy Word Salvation. One more thing that Respect the Goose needs to be able to interrupt, and that could be preventative of the very critical Li Ming resets. But let's introduce our teams. Division C West, our frenemies this season, Jason. Respect the Goose, the blue team, Arco on Mal'Ganis, Rhiannon on Li Ming, Goliath on Kira, Rusty back on the Brightwing, and Bullet Bear on a Malthael.
And on the right for amateur opponents, we've got Butte Holiday playing the Anduin, Cactus Ham going to be on the Sylvanas, Duck Rogers on the Garrosh. We've got Sonics Bro 33 going to be playing that Greymane. And last but not least, up on the Zol, we've got ST Terminator.
Yeah, and like in Game 1, I think a lot of this game is going to ride on Terminator's ability not to get picked on, but you can already see this double rotate Zool and the lane pressure. This tower is like half gone. We're 30 seconds into the game. Arco is going to try for the sleep, but a great stun by Duck Rogers to prevent the triple sleep there. That could have been trouble. But you can see how this game is going to settle in. Zool and Malthael are going to try to match each other, and amateur opponents is going to try to pressure bot, siege damage, mercenaries, and just control this bottom lane.
And right away we see the toss in. That is going to be a tough thing to get out of. The nice telly there from Rusty, getting some good healing out to bring them back up, but gotta be careful on positioning there. You get too close. But now Butte Holiday getting pressured.
Yeah, and I think amateur opponents is actually gonna have to concede this Merc camp. Butte's too low, Duck Rogers is too low, so a nice little invade there. And if they don't secure the mercenary camps, they being amateur opponent, that's going to lessen the pressure, relieve the pressure in this bottom lane a lot. Nice throw there by Duck Rogers to actually save the Pumpkin Sapper from going in on the tower, using his cooldowns to actually burn that Pumpkin Sapper down.
Very tricky. I love it.
And now amateur opponent, they're looking for their own invade. Garrosh taking a little nap, but he's by himself there, then gets polyed. But they're not going to complete the invade, question mark?
Meanwhile, Malthael seeming to get a little bit of an advantage up top, but back and forth we go in the bot lane. Poly onto Sonics, but they're going to back up, and both teams will respect each other's side.
Yeah, this the Garrosh toss is going to get significantly more effective when the Cursed Bullet comes on the table, and even the Wailing Arrow as well. Just the ability to isolate out that single target. Here comes nap time. Garrosh actually throws him away just in the nick of time, but more Pumpkin Sappers coming in. And this all melee comp is actually bullying amateur opponents a little bit, Jay. The Garrosh is having a hard time controlling both Kira and Mal'Ganis. He can really only account for one. And as a result, they're being forced to kind of kite backwards as amateur opponents.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried here for amateur opponents. Anduin's starting on pretty low health here for Butte Holiday. We'll see if that ends up being a factor. Both the top ones are going to be channeled on their own respective sides. The dash in here from Arco getting a lot of damage out over on the side of Respect the Goose, but looks like the rotation is here. Both teams coming down. Malthael tries to sneak it, but I don't think that's going to function. Butte Holiday on the other side gets hit there by the Kira, knocked back. The damage comes in. Can they get the reset? Goose, there it is. One, maybe two, getting real close on Duck Rogers, and they'll finish off 3. How about the 3-for-0 here to start it off for Respect the Goose?
Yeah, very reminiscent of Game 1, Game 2. The first team fight in Game 2 was almost a carbon copy. It was kind of this long, drawn-out skirmish, and then right at the very end, Li Ming managed to get the reset and kind of tic-tac-toed her way to a triple kill. Very reminiscent of what just happened there.
Yeah, and that's kind of how you want to do things as a Li Ming. You get a lot of poke damage out, and it kind of goes with the comp. Brightwing kind of gives those slow heals over time, so the longer these fights go, the more it is going to give an advantage to Respect the Goose. Amateur opponents got to get in there, get one target isolated, blow them up with the CC and the damage they have, and get that advantage early. Otherwise, it's going to be more and more likely for Respect the Goose to win those team fights.
Yeah, nice job by Garrosh there to throw Mal'Ganis away, ensuring that they get the camp, but Goliath on the Kira just went ham on the backside, taking out Anduin. And there's the stun and the root, but the amateur opponents is going to have to back up here. And this is probably honestly the biggest lead, and it's not really a decisive one that Respect the Goose has had in either one of these first games.
Well, there you go. And Goose, I'll tell you what. Earlier I said that Respect the Goose was after my own heart with that Li Ming pick, but I didn't realize exactly how right I am now that I see its orb builds. Li Ming.
Indeed. The kind of full-on poke. And with this triple kind of front line, the Malthael, Kira, Mal'Ganis, she is going to be very able to safely do exactly what she just did. Throw orbs at max distance and melt whoever she hits. The target's almost irrelevant, frankly, because she just wears them down.
Right. 10. We got a double altar spawn here. Yeah, you're right. 10. Very close here for Respect the Goose. Look out.
So that time the orb does not hit anybody. And I think that's, if you see that and your amateur opponents, you want to try to take advantage of that. But 10s are too close. Cactus Ham is too low. Amateur opponents forced to withdraw. And I don't think they can step in with 10 so close, Jay. I would really like them just to back up, but they might make me eat my words as Goliath and Bullet Bear so low. Double sleep, but Li Ming is zoned away and unable to secure the kills yet. Now amateur opponents, they do appear to realize that 10 is on the horizon, and they will back up. 10's on board for Respect the Goose.
Yeah, that's a good call from amateur opponents. You got to live to fight another day. In this situation, they didn't quite have 10. They maybe could have fought, but I kind of saw that tic-tac-toe you were talking about beginning to line up. Li Ming was isolated in the bot lane, but amateur opponent wasn't really in a position to capitalize on that. Meanwhile, Boss being taken up in the top by Respect the Goose. They're going to extend that lead to a 16-shot lead. Nice advantage for amateur opponents down here on the bot lane, but Li Ming was also in position to hit with a lot of those flanking orbs and start knocking them down like those dominoes again.
Yeah, if amateur opponents takes down this fort, I don't know if I like that trade for Boss, frankly. This bottom fort offers so much control, but they haven't finished it yet. There he goes, but now there's the initiation. So it is actually Light Bomb, and not Holy Word Salvation. There's the Cursed Bullet onto Mal'Ganis. There's the Wailing Arrow. Now, Respect the Gooses cannot stay here with that fort spawning. They have a very small window with which to work here.
Yeah, they're going to have to try to poke to bring this back. They have decent poke and siege damage, but Arco right now is super low. Decided not to back, but at least has to try to cuddle up a little bit to Brightwing. The poke comes out, but yeah, they're in great position to defend here for amateur opponents. Oh, wait a minute.
We didn't check those 10s, and that is almost a really cheeky combination. The Dark Conversion followed by the Last Rites. I was kind of wondering why he was hanging out in the bush there. That was a really nice combo. So Mal'Ganis just topped himself up, and then the Last Rites almost killed him. This looks like
very close.
Going to be a gentleman's trade here for both teams. But however, Anduin, Sylvanas, they're going to have double Mercs pushing. I would really like amateur opponents to step in and defend this bottom fort harder, though. I feel like they've let them poke it down too much. I want to make them work for it, but speaking of working for it, Mal'Ganis is going. But this fort might go too, Jay. I want to see them step in hard and keep this thing up. And there they go.
This is the rotation you wanted. Yep, they come right in from the front side with no danger. And now it's Zol that's got the advantage. And Malthael was spending so much time down here trying to chip away at this. Now he's behind, and now Zol's going to get a lot of extra damage off of those extra skeletal minions that he spawns. You know, a lot of damage coming down on Cactus Ham, but Brightwing actually going to push everything back there and give a little time for them to clear out those sappers to try and not let them cross that line.
And Goliath is going to go down, yeah. This is actually, despite the core health discrepancy, this is actually the situation that amateur opponents want. They want to just stand down here, defend this fort, push in Mercs, and let Zool double soak. And that's exactly why I didn't like the boss for bottom fort trade, is it gives amateur opponents exactly what they built the comp to do.
Right, yeah, it's so dangerous to try and siege into that tower with the Garrosh around.
Yeah,
they're in a good position. They've only got about half a level lead, but you know, that can make a difference when you're coming towards these altar spawns if you end up with that talent tier advantage. We saw that earlier with the level 10s for Respect the Goose. We'll see if that comes in as a factor later on.
Look at this rotation, though. So aggressive by Respect the Goose. They went through the little no man's land here, and I think Butte's in trouble. If she goes through there, she is in a world of hurt. She did check the bush, though. Now they found it. Garrosh found it. That's who you want to find it. But, man, forced to proc the Unstoppable. They don't get the reset, and now the counter-engage Wailing Arrow right on top. Light Bomb only catches one, but the Brightwing goes down. Kira goes down. That was a little bit awkward for both sides. Root goes on to Mal'Ganis, and he is able to limp away. Wailing Arrow by Cactus Ham, I think, was the difference, Jay.
Yeah, there were a lot of factors in there. The Light Bomb came out, stopped a little bit of that force, but a big win for Respect the Goose and at least getting that bottom bell tower back out of all this. But they've got enough of a lead right now. They've got a little bit of a cushion to be able to try to make that play and see if they can get more out of it. And again, they backed out before it became too ugly. They're still able to take some advantages on the map, even though they lost that one bell tower.
Yeah, but Zool is starting to get payoffs in the double lane there. Now Merc's coming in. Everybody is up for both teams. Level 16 on the horizon here for amateur opponents. And you can't go into the tower. Still did shut it down, though. Polly onto Garrosh. Greymane gets hit by the Akira, but that's a big light bomb. Sylv goes down anyway, as does Garrosh, and now the reset's coming into play. And then that's how these fights are going to go. If Respect the Goose gets first kill, that's probably that. And if Li Ming blows that initial set of cooldowns with no reset, they might be in trouble. That's what happened in this altar fight, is they sunk so much into the Garrosh and didn't get the kill.
Yeah, that's the only thing that they have to be focused on is securing that first kill to get the Li Ming resets, and after that, it's a lot easier. But it just depends on whether or not Butte can sustain that one target, get the targeted healing out, and with level 16 and inner focus, that'll be a little bit easier to spike heal that one target, especially if light bomb's coming down. Meanwhile, on the other side, we do see the caps coming out, triple spawn here, and two of them are going to go directly over to respect the Goose without even contesting this bottom one.
Yeah, they had a couple of heroes just coming off of spawn, so decided that discretion was the better part of valor. But if there is a map where you're going to have a crazy comeback, this is that map.
Right. Definitely no better map to be behind on than this one. You can always come back, and pretty even right now in the XP. It's all pretty much evened out at this point, and they've been chipping away at this bottom keep. We'll see if they can find a way to get this bell tower back.
Now this is very similar to the last fight. If you watch, Duck Rogers is mirroring Mal'Ganis, but he can't mirror Mal'Ganis and Kira. And last time you had the Kira on this lower flank was able to initiate on the Greymane. That's what started the fight. So they need to be real careful with their positioning. There's the aggressive throw. There's the pull. There's the silence to prevent the dark conversion. And that was an execution, Jason. Mal'Ganis just got obliterated.
And that was a 4v5 Goose. Mal'Ganis made it down in time to be involved in that fight. Zol was still in mid, but if amateur opponents just coordinated their heroics better.
Yeah, that was beautiful. That was very beautiful, because the dark conversion can save Mal'Ganis from that. But Cactus Ham once again put the big time wailing arrow on. And this could be a tipping point. This bottom fort is going to spawn. This bottom altar should be free. This is basically impossible for Respect the Goose to contest this. I would like them to send one person to channel and then hard defend this, because once again, they're just letting them poke it down for free. Do not let them do that.
Yeah, they step up. They're going to send back Anduin, which is totally the right call. They do also have the sappers coming in as well, so that if they cap this quick enough, they might be able to try and force the issue there.
Nope. We have a DC. No.
No, that's not good.
That is not good. All right, well, we'll get back to this. It looks like Zool had to disconnect, and I mean, I get that. I had that happen in game 2. So it happens to the best of us.
It does happen.
It does. So we'll hang out 22-9 in core health, Jay, but otherwise, I mean, that score indicates that this game is not as close as it is, and it's really close.
Yeah, well, we're about to get the cap from Butte Holiday, so that's going to be 5. It's going to be 5 shots going over. So we're going to see 17-9. And again, after that last team fight win, amateur opponents now has the XP lead on the race to 20. So if they can extend that at all and continue to hold this bottom bell tower, they're going to be in pretty good shape for set up for a comeback.
Yeah, and they're winning the race to 20 as well.
Yeah. 6-6 on the kill count, though. I mean, it's been pretty back and forth, pretty even overall. So we'll see who can make that final put that final exclamation point on this series.
Yeah, you don't want to lose too much more of your amateur opponents, because if you get to 4 or less, then you get into that weird spot where both the bell tower and the boss can win, and you have to kind of play the guessing game a little bit, and that's not a spot you want to be in. So I kind of like that they're drawing the line in the sand at 9 here, that this is where they're making their move before it's a little bit too dicey.
Right. And when you look at it, there are no more triple altar spawns. That happens on the 1st and 5th altar spawns on the map. So at this point, you never have to worry about having to give up any. Even on a double spawn, you're going to be able to make a play, whether it's both the top ones or both the bottom ones, to try and get both and try and deny and force that team fight before anybody captures them.
And poor Zool and Malthael just basically don't get casted this game unless they decide to make a cameo rotation into the 4-man down here. Those solo laners never get any love.
Yeah, that's kind of the life of a solo laner. But you know, they've both been doing their jobs. You know, no solo lane pickoffs, no big team fighting. So shout out to Bullet Bear on Malthael and um, Saint Terminator on Zool. They're doing great jobs. They're doing their jobs, and you know, like neither one has lost too much on their top and mid bell towers. So you know that they're they're doing a pretty even job overall.
And not just that, is they're double soaking, but they're also not ignoring what's going on in the other lane. Both Zool and Malthael have rotated um, down to the 4-man for fights and flanks, and they've been kind of making cameos here and there. So you know, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It looks like we have the R's from everybody, and hopefully we can hear. We got the countdown, and we will go back into game number 3. So there goes the channel you talked about, and now amateur opponents has to step up and defend the Mercs. Instead of defending them, they're actually ripping the Respect the Goose's Mercs, which is fine, but that's once again, that's going to give up the fort, and I just don't think it's worth it. However, speaking of rotations, Malthael is in trouble. You jinxed him. You said nobody's got caught out and rotated on, and there it goes. Down goes Malthael, and now are they going to boss skull?
Whoops.
They are taking the boss off the map. Yep.
My bad.
You jinxed
My bad,
it.
Bullet Bear. I didn't mean to.
The caster curse was real. I did it in game 1 when I said Sonic's Bro hasn't missed a cursed bullet the whole game, and the very next one I saw was a whiff. Yeah.
Yep.
These casters are just terrible.
See, that's the thing is what we're talking about is them not getting enough, them not getting enough attention. But now they'd probably rather not have the attention. But oh, look at the damage! Nice job, the cursed bullet, and well, they also put forth that wailing arrow to finish it off.
Finish the job.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's huge. That's a staggered death 15 minutes into the game. When they're on the verge of 20, that is going to either give them a solid 20, or they're going to just simply convert this bottom bell tower. Now, Zool's not here, so when Malthael's up, it's a 4-on-4. Here comes nap time. Nice job by Juck Rogers just to huck him out. You got to time that throw just right to interrupt that sleep.
Yeah, it's not the first time that's happened either. We've
No.
seen that multiple times this game.
We have. So now,
Yeah, level 20 is definitely going to be here just for amateur opponents. So this bell tower should be relatively free.
yeah, and Brightwing will not be up. Now, granted, it is Brightwing. She could teleport in here if she chooses to. But the way Respect the Goose has been playing these games, they haven't been doing these stepping in without 20 engagements, so I don't expect they're going to do it here. And Jay, that will leave us at 9-9.
Yeah, talk about comeback. Here we go.
I mean, all
Yeah,
3 of these games have just been so good.
Yeah, shout out to the placement team.
Yeah, whoever did that is, well, they're not terrible.
Now look at this. Again, Arco shut down on the sleep charge.
Oh.
Now the damage is coming out. Look out the light bomb. That's going to shut him down before that dark conversion. It actually interrupted it. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I was wondering where the taunt from Duck Rogers was. He didn't use it on the first kill, but used it on the second kill. There's the root. And then Butte actually using the pull from Anduin aggressively to pull the teammates toward the battle.
Over here. Attack this one. This one right here. Oh, man.
So if they're going to go to the other one, I think only Greymane. Everyone else should be here defending this, unless they're going to try to 6-cap. No, they're going to try to 6-cap.
Yeah, I mean they've got the crew.
Yeah,
to
that's
be
a great
able to
call.
do that.
Either one would have been fine, and with Zool on top and Greymane Sylve, this is going to be a 5-cap actually, because Respect the Goose will take back bottom to 4.
Right.
But they will absolutely take control of this map.
Yeah, the only good thing for Respect the Goose is they do have this bottom lane open now, so they'll be able to get to these 2 altar spawn locations. And it looks like they're not going to quite get top, so it is just going to be 5 for 3. But still, even if you trade here, you end up trading down 2 shots because of that mid bell tower being captured.
Oh, and not just that, the double altar spawn. This is a win condition for amateur opponents, but not for Respect the Goose.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like they are just going to kind of go with the gentleman's trade here, but it looks like actually amateur opponents gets down here in time to interrupt. So you're right, here's the win condition.
You know, I said pre-game they didn't have a good light bomb target, but it doesn't matter. Butte's just been putting it on whoever's in the middle of this, and I think this is it, Jay.
Yeah, that is definitely it. Again, great executed team fight. Malthael shut down by that silence. Great coordination and amateur opponents. Looking good in this entire series, but gonna end up taking it here in game number 3 and getting a win here in week 1 of season 9.
Yeah, and this is actually their second match this week. Amateur opponents getting mod favorite points by scheduling a flex match in week 1. And they actually took a 2-0 domination victory. So, Jay, they now have 5 points in weeks 1. They were a little bit of an unknown quantity, but here in week 1, making a strong statement in C West.
Yeah, taking that number 1 spot, I would imagine, with that many points.
So I normally like to do an interview, but both you and I have a game to get to here in 15 minutes. If you're interested in more Division C West action, -10 armor and team training wheels, where both Jay and I will be playing, will be casted on the link that I posted. And in the meantime, Jay, currently going on is the NGS Game of the Week, or the NGS Showdown. I'm not really sure which they're calling it nowadays.
Game of the week.
Game of the Week. So we are going to send it over there to Murda and Slexia. But thanks for hopping in for Game 3, man. It's always more fun having somebody riding shotgun.
Yeah, we'll have to do this more often. I'll make sure to shoot you an invite the next time I pick one up.
Absolutely. All right, guys, enjoy the game of the week. It's Dread Pirates versus Washed Up in our very competitive heroic division, and happy season 9 opening week.